All right, so this is just a quick little video. You're not going to be as long as the other ones, talking specifically about why Magpul brand Glock mags are not all that great. In contrast to the other Magpul magazines that we all know and love that generally work pretty well for almost everything that they make it for, right? Including the AR-10s, AR-15s, the CZ Scorpion mags. Those all tend to work pretty well. But the Glock magazines in particular kind of suck, and there's a reason for that. In particular with one type of ammo, and that's steel cased. So there are numerous manufacturers of steel cased ammo out there, and they come in different flavors and varieties. But the two most common types that I've seen have been a lacquered case, kind of like what we have here. I don't know if that'll focus on there or not, but this kind of case style, as you can see, has kind of a lacquer around it. It's very smooth all over, kind of feels higher quality production stuff. The other type, which I don't have access to right now, is like your Wolf and Tula brand, which is the kind of like powder-coated steel case. That is the steel case in question that has issues with these magazines. And Magpul will even tell you as much, I'm sure, if you ask them. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is how these magazines are designed and how they are just a bit different from like Glock OEM or other manufacturers of Glock magazines, right? So I have my handy dandy whiteboard here. Okay, so the main principle behind why these things get all jammed up is friction, right? It's all friction and inability to overcome that friction by the magazine spring. So we're going to take a look from magazine here from as if you're looking at the back side of it. Okay, so you have your magazine walls right here, right? Let's see if I get the glare out of there. So your two magazine walls here. Here's the bottom of the mag, and here's the where it goes up to the top and the round up there. So let's say you have your 5 rounds or however many you're trying to stuff into 17 round mag like this. This is your standard Glock 17 Magpul magazine. If you're trying to stuff 17 rounds of steel case, powder cased ammo, they're all bunched up basically in this staggered double column pattern, right? Now, if you imagine these things, they're all pressed up against the sides here really, really, really tight. So that's one point of friction. The other point of friction is between the cases themselves. These things are sitting here and rubbing up against each other really, really, really tightly. So when the follower down here is pushing up, it has to push up against all of those rounds basically rolling against each other. So they're kind of like going in that direction or going the other direction. They're rolling against each other, and that creates an immense amount of friction with those powder coated cases alongside the magazine walls as well, because the design of Magpul magazines, it's the same material all the way throughout. There is no special coating, there is no metal liner in these magazines. It's all the same. So if you feel kind of the texture of these magazines here, it's not very lubricious. It's not very smooth. It's kind of in such a way that all that powder and junk and stuff gets into, I guess, the pores of the plastic, the little texture of the plastic, and that makes it even higher friction, which really, really, really jams up all this stuff in here. Just way too much to overcome from the spring on the bottom there. So that is the main reason why they say do not use steel-cased ammo in Glock Magpul magazines. So if you've noticed from Glock OEM magazines, they actually have a steel liner on the inside of their magazine. So it's a polymer body with a steel liner that basically sits kind of, and you can see it yourself when you're actually looking at the magazine here. So you have the polymer body itself, which is pretty thick actually compared to some others like ETS, for instance. ETS is kind of thin and chintzy in my opinion, but so you got your polymer walls basically, and then you have a steel insert inside of that, which also goes up to the feed lips as well. That steel insert is the reason why you can use powder-coated steel-cased ammo in Glock OEM magazines. Now, it may not feed as well as everything else, of course, compared to just a traditional straight all-metal magazine, but Glock does have that metal liner in there that helps the feeding and reduce the friction on the inside of the magazine. So unfortunately, that's like I said, that's why these Magpul ones don't work that well for that. Now, if you have the lacquered case like I do, these work absolutely just 100% fine in these, at least in my experience anyways. I've not had any jams due to friction in these Magpul mags from using lacquered case. Now this is Monarch brand. I think it's just relabeled Barnaul ammo, but the Barnaul stuff tends to be pretty good. A lot of the things I've seen from them have been the lacquer case, so that stuff should be good to go as far as my experience. So yeah, I just thought I'd bring that quick little thing about why the powder cased, steel cased ammo is probably not the best thing to use in all plastic magazines. I mean, you can also see that in the AR mags as well, with like Tula and Wolf powder coated steel case 223, 556, right? If you put that in a Magpul plastic magazine, the same thing is going to happen. It just cannot get over the sheer friction on the inside of these magazines and kind of the material they use for these. There's not enough lubricity, and do not put oil or anything inside of your magazines to make it work better. It's that's not going to turn out well for you, trust me. So yeah, that's the reason why these things work, or why they don't work rather, and why if you're going to use these powder coated steel cased ammo in any of your guns, I would highly recommend using it in weapons that have metal magazines, just because of the differences in material composition and the surface finishes and all that stuff. It all plays together to create or reduce friction, and that's the main reason why these things get stuck. So just a word of caution if you're looking at loading up on Magpul magazines, because there's a lot of people out there who are saying, man, Magpul magazines work great. I bet they work great on the Glock, and they do if they have the right ammo. But in my opinion, any magazine should be able to work with any ammo you feed it, steel cased or not. So these are kind of low on my tier of good Glock magazines. So just keep that in mind, because I know there's a lot of people out there using these. So yeah, just thought I'd bring that to mind because I saw a comment on a video recently about this guy complaining about his 9mm AR platform style gun, and he was using Glock magazines with powder coated steel cased ammo, and it was not working at all for him. He thought the gun was like a piece of shit, you know, blah blah blah. But nothing wrong with the gun, it's just the magazine. So yeah, keep that in mind, and of course tell your friends as well, because they may not know any better, and the more everyone knows, the better. And hey, maybe Magpul can do some kind of product improvement to appease to all of the shall we say, more budget friendly minded people like you and me. So anyways, just thought I'd bring that, and we'll see you next time.